What's up, everyone? Bringing you another subscriber question. I love answering these. Someone asked, why would you ever pause on overhead presses? Very many people can differentiate a bench press and a paused bench press, but very few people think that there's a difference between a paused overhead press and just a standard overhead press. I would argue they are two different exercises and have two different applications depending on what your goal is. So let's start off with the key differences between a flat and an incline bench and an overhead press. So the incline and flat bench both start off from the top. You can unrack them and boom, your arms are already locked out. An overhead press, a standing overhead press, that is not the case. So basically every rep is starting from the bottom of an overhead press. If you never pause your reps, you'll fail to build the dead stop strength right out of the bottom. Whereas on the flip side with a bench press, if you're always just dive bombing and bouncing the weight off your chest, you're just going to be relying on rebound over and over again. The same can be true with an overhead press. To me, your heaviest sets should always be paused with an overhead press. This will help strengthen the bottom part of the motion. And then when you're doing lighter weights, you don't really have to pause as much and the reps will feel easier. But for your heaviest sets, I recommend pausing. This would be very similar to doing a paused bench press or a longer paused bench press to increase your off the chest strength. Why should you pause these reps? When you pause reps on your overhead press, this allows you to utilize your upper back and lats a lot more, in my opinion, because you have to remain tight. You have to tuck everything. And the better you can be and the tighter you can be and the more comfortable you can be at the bottom, it almost has like this coil effect where you're just like a spring ready to shoot up. This isn't something you get by only doing touch and go reps. Constantly doing pause reps, like I said earlier, will carry over to your heavier sets. And it carries over extremely well to 1 rep maxes. Now, touch and go reps are not useless. I don't want that to be the takeaway from this video, that you should always be doing paused overhead reps. Because I wouldn't suggest to someone you should always be doing pause benching. There's definitely applications for both. Now, I think you should be doing touch and go reps when you're doing maybe a hypertrophy-based block or just hypertrophy sets. Maybe your down sets where you're doing sets of 8, sets of 10, sets of 12, sets of 15. Those can be done touch and go. In fact, maybe I almost recommend them. When I was running 5-3-1, my favorite way to train the overhead press was doing the boring but big 5 sets of 10 overhead press. To me, that was my absolute favorite. And I feel like some people's shoulders would respond really well to that because you're using a stupidly low weight and you're just doing a shit ton of reps with them. That being said, higher rep paused sets, even with lower weight, can have a lot of benefit to them. Because think about it, if you're doing either dead stop or pause, you need to reinitiate that power every rep and you can't rely on the stretch reflex, which will give you a lot of muscle activation. So really on your down sets, you can do both. So in conclusion, paused reps will carry over to touch and go reps because you will be building power out of the bottom. I can't really say the same for touch and go reps. Sure, it will help at the midpoint because there the stretch reflex is basically gone, but it's not going to really help you with the power out of the hole, especially for beginners and people that really don't practice this lift that often. So touch and go reps, so paused reps will carry over to your touch and go reps, whereas touch and go reps only might carry over to your paused reps. So all in all, I would say if you are struggling out of the bottom with your overhead press and just struggling with stability for maybe 3 to 6 weeks, I would do nothing but paused reps so that you were able to command the weight at the bottom of the range of motion and really get that starting strength or pop off your chest. I hope this answers your question. I hope you took something away from this video, even if you're someone that did not ask this question. And have a great day, ladies and gentlemen.